Hey YouTube, I hope you're well. Um, I'm sure you're finding yourself with a lot of extra time on your hands right now. So what a better opportunity to learn another instrument, right? So I've been playing flute for a long time. I've even went to school for it. And I've been playing fife for over 20 years. But one thing I wanted to pick up is the Baroque flute. And this is fun, okay? Now I played this before. When I was in college, I did this with harpsichord, and we played a Johannes Mattheson sonata, and it was a full house, perfect acoustics. It was just amazing, absolutely amazing. That was about 11 years ago. And needless to say, I've forgotten most of the fingerings. I've forgotten a lot of the intonation, the embouchure, um, and and so I'm finding myself almost starting from scratch, and it's frustrating. The fingering differences between the modern flute and the fifes. I did say plural because 6-hole fife, 10-hole fife. Um, the differences are all so minute that it's incredibly frustrating. It does make a difference, it really does. And so, I can pick up the instrument and I can play a scale. Okay, I can play some beginning of tunes, but there are a lot of notes and quirks that I haven't worked out yet. And so I wanted to make a video kind of mid-process of learning this to share some of those frustrations in a way, but more importantly, to share some of the ideas and exercises I'm using to correct those problems. And I think a lot of these can cross translate right over to fife, to modern flute, and so or even to recorder and penny whistle for that matter. And so it's not locked into one instrument, and that's why I'm making this video. I think this will help a lot of you if you're a flutist learning fife, or if you're a fifer learning flute, or again recorder, or if you're a 6-hole fife trying to learn 10-hole. I think a lot of these problems can be corrected with the exact same exercises, which is really cool. So I recommend this book right here. It's called Better, Stronger, Faster by Bill Hart. And it's not a tune book. There's no tunes in it. It's just an exercise book, as the name suggests. But it's brilliantly put together, and it's got everything in here that you pretty much need for technique and so forth. It starts out, with tonal exercises and long tones. It goes into some endurance exercises, finger control, and intervals and arpeggios, broken chords, a lot of common problems and patterns that you see. So it's really a comprehensive book, and I highly suggest it. And the funny thing is, now, I use this book with all my students. Now that's not funny. The funny thing is here I am using it myself as a student. And it's kind of funny, but it only sets to solidify my argument that this is a good book. So one of the exercises that I'm using, and Bill, if you're watching this, I'm not going to give your whole book away, don't worry, but one of the exercises that I'm using is called a 5-note pattern. For those who are into music theory, it's called a pentachord scale. But rather than taking your fingering chart and trying to memorize the whole thing and play the entire scale, break it into chunks. I think it's a lot more manageable, and you'll actually find a lot more progression by doing that, and more retention by doing that. I mean, so in particular, the problem that I'm having is the pinky here. And so it's a little different than the modern flute, and it's certainly different than the fife, which doesn't have a pinky key. So let me go over what I'm doing here. Now, this is a 5-note scale, so in particular, I'm just going to start on D, nice and easy, okay? Okay, now that would be repeated. For the video, I'm just going to keep going. So when I say keep going, what he does, this is brilliant, is he plays musical chairs. He starts on the next note, and just, you keep the same pattern, but you just start on the second note, then the third note, then the fourth note, fifth note, sixth note, etc. Okay? So if I started on D initially, the next note is E. So at the very end, I don't know if you saw me. I want to almost put my finger down for the pinky. The E on the modern flute, the pinky's down. The E on the Baroque flute, the pinky's up, and that's exactly the problem I'm trying to work on. So this is perfect. You can see how this is actually being useful here. It's really trying to. I'm not just showing this off because I'm an expert at this already. And oh no, oh no. So that was the second note. Third note. Etc. Then G, then A, and then back in G and F, etc. So I highly recommend this. Another fun thing that you can do is you can change the rhythm. Or so you don't have to be locked in only to the written notation. You can change the rhythms to help you. Again, he also goes over intervals and arpeggios and so forth, and this is fantastic. So those are some exercises I'm doing, and there's tonal exercises as well. Another big key is intonation. So one way I'm going about this, and you might do the same, is I'm really worried more about the actual technique first. So really understanding the fingerings and some of the tonal and where exactly I want my embouchure to be perfectly placed for this. And so you can hear it. I'm still working on that, but I'm not too ashamed to announce that. But then I'm going to go back. Once I really have that a little more solidified, then I'm going to come back and work on intonation. If I try to do all of it at once, I think I'll very easily overwhelm myself and become frustrated to a point that I'm not going to want to play it. So it's just a good note for yourself. Don't worry about doing everything all at once. Try to isolate different problems, knowing full well that yes, I have to come back and do X or Y, and then do that. Come back and combat X and Y later. So just some ideas, and hopefully that'll help you. And yeah, have fun and good luck. Better, Stronger, Faster by Bill Hart. Definitely. Thanks.